Alright, Verse, welcome back to another video. We're gonna be reacting to Paramount's new trailer that they just released today, Gladiator 2. I have a lot of things to say on Gladiator because I really loved the first film that came out in the year 2000, and it was a great film, man. Russell Crowe did such a phenomenal job that he won an Oscar, I believe, that year, right? And when it came down to the movie itself, I watched the extended version, by the way. I love extended or director's cut versions of films when they're released because when I find out there's more to show, I'm like, what the fuck? Put it in the film. I'm like, let me watch it. So I always watch all the extended stuff for anything, really. And when it comes down to Gladiator, man, I'm telling you right now, Verse, I love Roman, Viking, Greek. I love all that stuff, you know, because it's just such great entertainment. It's like one of the most manliest freaking things you can watch. When I heard that they were gonna make a sequel to Gladiator, you'd think I'd be excited, but I was really freaking concerned because I'm thinking, you know what? If you wanted to make another film that's related to Gladiator from a different perspective, I'm totally fine with that. But for them to make a sequel damn near 25 years later, I'm like, okay, I have concerns, alright? I can't help but to be a little concerned because of the gap of making the film. Even Russell Crowe came out talking about the fact that he didn't like that they were making a sequel. It feels like it's its own standalone film. Now, I have more to say about it. I am somewhat excited about it because it is Gladiator, but it's a sequel, and you know, the majority of the time, sequels aren't really great. And nowadays, because there's prequels, and I'm so freaking tired of prequels, you know, they're not really great either sometimes. We just gotta wait and see. So with that said though, Verse, I'm gonna give you guys my reaction. We're gonna watch Gladiator 2 together. I'm gonna see what they did. I do hope that it turns out well. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to be negative about it. I do hope that the trailer turns out well, but better yet, I hope the film is great. Enough talk, let's get to the trailer. So with that said, let's get to it. Here we go. Oh, Denzel.
I remember that day. I never forgot it. Till a slave could take.
Oh, is that kid the main character?
Where were you born?
I don't know. I never knew a mother nor a father.
You will be my instrument.
Who are you?
Denzel's always playing the villain, man. Sometimes he's good as a villain.
The greatest temple.
Dude, that set looked great. Dude, look at that, man. Look at that.
They believe it. Power.
That looks great.
General Acacius, there are victories yet still to come.
Rome has so many subjects. She must feed them.
They can eat war.
Man, the battle scenes are gonna be great. I can already tell. These are massive battle scenes, man. Ooh, look at that.
Into gladiators, the gladiators into free men.
You have something in you. I knew it from the start.
Did you now?
Rage. And rage is your gift.
We got a rhino now? What?
Hold together, and when it charges, break for the wall.
Okay, don't spoil nothing, please. Don't spoil nothing.
Satisfy this fury.
The entire Roman armies.
Too much.
The general will do.
Rome must fall. I need to only give it a push.
We make it out alive. Alright, alright. Hands on the mausoleum floor.
Okay.
Blood stains the Colosseum doors.
Okay, Patrick.
This ring belonged to Maximus. Now I give it to you. What is the dream of Rome? The people are not free.
I was honest. Now I will control an empire.
I will not waste another generation of young men for their vanity.
Break them up! It's our own Christian heroes!
Hands on the mausoleum floor. Blood stains the Colosseum doors.
y'all, that was the trailer for Gladiator 2. My thoughts first on the trailer. So, there are a lot of positives. A lot more than I was expecting, and there are negatives. So I'm going to start with the positives and then work my way up to the negatives of what it is that I saw. So the positives, despite whatever the film may be or how it turns out, the sets look great. I mean, I loved how it looked like visually. I don't really see any visual effects at all from my perspective. You know, it all looks pretty realistic and good. That's one of the things I like about Ridley Scott. You know, Ridley Scott is one of my top 10 directors of all time. Anything, maybe even my top 5 for all I know. Because Ridley Scott, I've seen almost every single one of its films. This is another positive. It's directed by Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott did the first film, and now he's doing the second film, right? This dude is the man when it comes down to doing Roman, Gladiator, knights in shiny armor, all that type of stuff, right? Like, he is the go-to guy for that. I've seen almost every single one of his films. So when it comes down to the war set pieces here, that's another positive, that they're great. I love how huge they look like, because this is Roman times. They're supposed to be big, right? When they had battles and all these sword fighting and death and stuff, like, that was great. I loved what I saw here. But then again, I'm not surprised because this is the guy that did Troy with Brad Pitt. Remember Troy? I saw the extended version too. Again, it was a great film, and if you watch that movie, you know there was a lot of war scenes, a lot of fight scenes and gladiator scenes and all this other stuff in that film. There was a lot of stuff in Troy, and I love that movie. He did Kingdom of Heaven. He did, which was fine. It dragged on a little too long, but I loved it, especially the part where they were holding the cross and they were going down. Oh, that was a great scene. He did Gladiator. Gladiator on his own is already great. The last great film that he did that I saw was The Last Duel. I loved The Last Duel. The Last Duel was such a great film. If you didn't see it, you need to check it out. It's because it had, what was it, Adam Driver? Adam Driver as the villain. They had Matt Damon with a mullet. And I'm telling you, man, in that film, right, they had one of the best knights in shiny armor fight scenes I've ever seen in film, right? And when I saw that film, it brought back such goosebumps that I used to have when watching Ridley Scott's films, because I was like, yeah, this dude knows how to direct a fighting movie when it comes down to Romans, knights, and gladiators, all that stuff. I just wish he would do like Vikings and stuff. That would be great. I'm pretty sure Ridley Scott will be great at that. Now, the negatives. So here is my negative. The fact that it's a sequel, and the fact that it's been almost 25 years that they made this sequel, that's my biggest concern. The majority of the time when they make a sequel to an old classic film that's been done over 20 to 30, maybe 40 years ago, I'm thinking, what's the point in it? It's a classic for a reason. Leave it alone. Don't do a remake. We don't need to do another remake, okay? I'm already hearing that they're making a remake of Back to the Future, and even I'm worried about that film because I'm thinking, it worked in its time. How are you going to do that now? So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I hope not. I could be wrong. When it comes down to Gladiator 2, one of the negatives that I see about this film is that it doesn't really feel like it needs to be part of Gladiator. Like, there shouldn't be a Gladiator 2. This seems like it could be its own thing. So for them to use a Gladiator name, it really irritates me because I'm thinking, why? Like, why do you gotta make sequels to a bunch of films that don't need sequels or prequels? They're freaking more annoying. And when it comes down to some of the performances here, there are some characters that already look a little bland, if I'm being honest with you, mainly the main lead. Maybe it's too early to say, but I don't feel that vibe. When it comes down to another negative is Denzel Washington. Now, is the guy a great actor? Absolutely. And there's one thing he's great at playing is villains, right? I still remember his performance from Training Day, man. That's one of his best films of all time. But despite people liking Denzel, or if you don't like Denzel, whether people want to admit it or not, he always comes off like he plays the same type of character, which is himself. If I'm being honest with you. Because he does, you know, no disrespect to Denzel, but he's always coming off the same way. It's almost like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Like, every time you see that guy, it's just the same dude. Like, he doesn't ever change his hairstyle. He's always the same figure. It's always the same type of performance that he gives, you know, except for Jumanji Next Level, where he had to have an accent, and Hercules. I'll give him that. Those were the only two films where he had to change it up a little bit. And I was like, okay, good. You're doing something different. And then a new upcoming film that's coming out with him that I heard. That's what I'm saying. Like, there are some actors that unfortunately don't stand out because they always come off like they're playing the same thing. And Denzel Washington is one of them. I'm pretty sure his performance here is going to be great. Don't get me wrong. Already I was like, yeah, I could tell he's a villain. When it comes down to the trailer itself, it's a little too long. For them to show so many fight scenes, it gives me one of two things. Either they're showing this much because the film is probably over 2 hours, probably 2 hours and 30 minutes, or it's probably a 3-hour film, or it's not very good, so they're trying to win you over with fight scenes. Because when a trailer overextends itself to the point where they're showing you so much and they're throwing so much at you, to me, that goes, oh, I see what they're doing. Something's wrong with the film. There's something wrong with it, so they're trying to just show the main parts of it to get you to come over here. And when you see the film, you're not surprised because all the main parts were in the trailer. So I'm just like, I hope that's not true. I hope not. I really hope not. I would love for this film to be good. Don't get me wrong. I don't want it to fail. I would love for it to be good. I hope it's good. My biggest concern is the story. That's my biggest concern. I'm really curious to know what the story is here. I don't really feel like personally it's going to be as good as the first one. I really don't. I think the fight scenes will be phenomenal. I just don't see the story being as good as the first one. I don't see it. Sorry. I don't see it if anyone's about that. Russell Crowe even came out saying that he wasn't happy that they were making a sequel. He was honestly against it. And I don't blame him. I mean, when the film's been on its own for years and then all of a sudden you want to make a sequel to something, it's like Coming to America. The first one was great because it was telling a genuine love story and the comedy was just there. And then they made a sequel years later and it sucked because they focused more on the comedy than they were trying to give another love story with the next generation. So it flopped. Some people like that film. I don't know how, but some people like that film. And whatever, you know, those are just your average moviegoers, I guess. But regardless, that's what I'm saying. Like, making a sequel to something years later doesn't always work out well, and that's what I'm worried about. But so far, it's given a good impression. I'm pretty sure some people are probably gonna hate it. I wouldn't be surprised. But regardless of that, though, I mean, let me know what you guys think, though, Verse. These are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys excited for Gladiator 2? Or are you guys not excited for Gladiator 2? In fact, do you think they should have left it alone? I would love to know that. Do you think they should have left it alone? Because personally, as much as I did like seeing some of the fight scenes, I personally think they should have left the Gladiator alone. The name should have just, like, we're done with it. Leave it alone. You know, it's a classic. Let me know what you guys think first. So with that said, if you like what you saw, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification for more content as always. Look forward to the next video, Verse. And with that said, I'll see you next time. Later, Verse.